about the most ignorant stuff I done seen in here in a long time. You all are this is shameful. And in this moment, just when I thought these kids had pulled off a plot against both of you all, how do you think you cannot have a job?
What?
What?
I couldn't hear you.
It's called excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am?
See, we're gonna get it right in here today. I don't know who's teaching you, but I'm gonna give you a lesson.
I'm teaching them.
Well, you're not. Because when I say something, the answer's not what? In the world, he's gotta have a job.
He missed out on 22 years of her life. Still, Ms. Thomas wants her father to walk her down the aisle. You heard that right? Growing up, everybody around her had their dads around them. Not having a father around in the house throughout her life was really depressing.
I just felt like he didn't put enough effort in trying to get to know me.
Mr. Powell?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you put the effort in?
Because I found out she was pregnant through a family member, and one of the family members was like, that ain't your kid.
That is something. So he found out about the pregnancy through a family member. Also, turns out there has been a lot of confusion with the paternity of the baby since day one. After hearing about the possibility of another man being the father, Mr. Powell is bound to have a mountain of doubt.
The summer she came and spent with me, she was a teenager, she was with my other kids. Her and my other kids had a conversation, and they was all discussing like, you don't look like none of us. And I got 6 other kids that been DNA all 99.95%.
Well, don't we all, Mr. Powell? Hearing all of that as a child from her peers must have hit Ms. Thomas where it hurt, especially because it came from his other children. Sure, the semblance card is wildly off, but was there another man in the picture? Ms. Thomas's mother is going to be the one to answer that part.
I was at a party this year. I was discussing with some of the folks that I know back in the day. I was telling them about the situation I'm going through because they knew Miss Shelton, and I was discussing with one of my guys.
Now we're just getting started. Men have been messing around with her from way back. Isn't that wild? Now, Ms. Thomas is denying this. Come on, what are the odds that someone would lie about something like that? Especially since it was so long ago and he recognized her immediately too.
I know who I've been with, and whoever you lying on was making up a person that
I
don't
just
even
asked
exist.
him, did he mess with her at this time?
First of all, the only one that I was messing with around
the
only person I was messing with was you, to be honest.
Okay, hold up, Ms. Thomas. You keep denying every single thing Mr. Powell says, and it's getting suspicious. What do you mean he's making people up that don't exist? Mr. Powell has nothing to gain from lying about this situation, so would he really lie? Now who's lying and who's telling the truth?
$43,000 in arrears for child support.
Yes.
And you still have no certainty that this is your biological
What I don't
daughter.
understand is that to get down to, you could have been said something about all the doubts you said you had.
Whoa, $43,000? That's a whole lot of money for a child that he has so much doubt about too. Now what's Ms. Thomas saying about why he's bringing everything up now? If he's so unsure about paternity, does she really expect him to pay all that money regardless?
When you told me she was pregnant,
Look,
I've been finding
when
out
I told you,
kids,
you
not
already
my
knew that I
kids,
was
all
pregnant.
the time.
Like I said, when I was pregnant with her, you was there, you and everything. You came to visit and everything.
Well, okay then. Now surely it's so hard to believe that they are having a paternity test after 22 years. If everything that Ms. Thomas says is true, as they've been good for all those years, why then is this happening? What is causing all the insurmountable doubt? She says she has been faithful to him.
Somebody said this. That's a lie. You could have kept that.
I don't know
because
why
it's
he
a
would have
lie.
lied about
You
it.
already know that it was only you and my ex.
Whoa. So there really was someone else. Now why are you just saying that, Ms. Thomas? This case could have been over already. If it was not just Mr. Powell, but your ex as well, why then is he not a possibility? It only takes one time after all.
Regardless of the fact, hold on, Miss
lie.
Shelton, regardless of the fact there was one ex or even a third person which he described, regardless, if there was him and an ex, there still is a question.
Right.
You got that right, Judge Lake. Now this woman is about to realize that she just made the biggest mistake. She came to court knowing that there was a possibility Mr. Powell was not the father, yet she pinned everything on him, with all that money from child support too. Let's get to the results.
Mr. Powell, you are not the father. That is not your daughter's biological father. 22 years. 22 years of being told one man is your father, and the entire time, he is not.
This grandmother does not believe it's her great-grandson. She's in court on behalf of her grandson and their family to deny the paternity of the child. She adds that there are reasons why Ms. Brugger is intent on pinning the paternity of the baby on her family.
All right, you claim your granddaughter knows for a fact
your grandson was sterile.
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you believe Ms. Brugger's motives actually are?
Money, gold digger. Right after Parrish got killed, she went for Social Security.
Well, well, well. Now she just called Ms. Brugger a gold digger. Apparently, she knows that her son W's sterile too. What an interesting turn of events. The way this woman keeps talking like she was the third party in her grandson and Ms. Brugger's relationship is simply alarming.
And the fact that they're saying he was sterile, he was never told by a doctor. That was just him because he never had a child.
Me and Parrish clearly had a conversation before he passed that he wasn't sure.
Oh, I see. So there was no doctor to diagnose his sterility. The only doctor present here is Ms. Warner and her granddaughter in court today. The way these two women are so confident in the sterility story is absolutely something. How could you possibly be sure enough to bring sterility to paternity court without clinical diagnosis?
We lived together. We were a family. He told everyone my girls were his stepdaughters. He called them his stepdaughters, everything. He was there through my whole pregnancy, all the doctor's appointments, everything.
Now it's crazy that all these things add up. It honestly looks suspicious. It's enough to bet that if Parrish Sinar were in court today, bless his soul, he'd almost be jumping to support Ms. Brugger. So what exactly is going on with the Warner's testament? Why are these women against Ms. Brugger? Are they about to make an insane mistake?
While you were in this relationship, he's
Excuse
going to
me, Your
doctor's
Honor.
appointments with you, and he's excited about the baby and calling your girls his stepchildren. Is he expressing any of this excitement, Ms. Warner, Ms. Beasley, to you that I'm having a child, I believe it's mine?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, what exactly is wrong with these women? He's told you about how he feels about having a family and how excited he is about having a baby with Ms. Brugger. But for God knows what reason, they simply don't believe it. And this is why they're here. What a duo!
Because of Parrish. Parrish was alive then. That was his baby. But to me, that's not his job. He loved the baby, Your Honor, but the baby doesn't even look like him. He doesn't act like him. His forehead's not like, there's nothing about him to tell me that that is my grandson.
Again, what is wrong with these two? His grandmother went to his child's baby shower, listened to him go on about how it is his baby, but she does not believe it. Now she's going on and on about the semblance card. Ms. Warner, do you realize that this is your great-grandson and not your son?
I invited them to my son's first birthday party. They didn't show up.
That's not my son. That's why I didn't show
And
up.
if y'all felt this way about my son, why did y'all never
Because I
say
love
nothing
Parrish
when
so
he was
much.
born?
I loved
Or
Parrish.
when his father was
I
alive?
love
It was
Parrish
never
and I
a
wasn't-
question.
Oh, I see. She never wanted to come between Parrish Sinar and the baby. She loved Parrish so much and she did not wish to hurt him. All of this applies for when he was alive. Now that Parrish has passed, why are you doing this, Ms. Warner?
Your Honor, there was also times when Parrish would call my grandmother that Rochelle wasn't picking him up from work. He was late to picking her up, and she couldn't explain to him on why all that was happening. There was times when she kicked Parrish out. He came to my grandmother's house. She had to give him money to stay at a hotel room.
Hold up a second. These women thought they had Ms. Brugger in a corner. She came out of that and defended herself so fast, it knocked the bitterness right off their faces. If anything, these women have started to regret coming to paternity court right about now.
Okay, I have a question though, Rochelle. If it comes back and that is his, is my
It is.
grandma even going to be able to see the baby?
You cannot.
You
they
act
can't-
so funny. You
Right.
act so
She
funny
wanted-
with
I'm
him.
so funny, but why
you act
weren't
so
y'all at the
funny
ba-
with
why
him.
weren't y'all at the baby
I wasn't
shower?
there because my 1-year-old
And the
was
birthday.
sick.
Just look at these women. They're completely into bickering right now. They don't even see anybody else. Would you look at that? It's a lot to imagine how Parrish Sinar would react if he were in this courtroom, but things would certainly take a different turn. To cut things short, let's see the results.
Mr. Harvey is related to Parrish Brooks Jr. Therefore, Parrish Brooks Sr. is also related to Parrish Brooks Jr.
Okay, I owe you an apology.
His girlfriend slept with another man on the same day. He then gave his son his first and last name, then found out the baby may not be his. Mr. Woody is in court today only to figure one thing out, if he is the biological father of Ms. Wilson's son. Now, Ms. Wilson reveals that she had been intimate with another man around the time of conception. Now, we do not know who the true father of baby Woody Jr. is.
I have a 3-year-old daughter already, so when I found out I was having a son, I was excited because what man doesn't want to have a junior? You know, all the stuff a father's supposed to do with his son, so I'm just ready, so I'm ready to be a father to a boy now.
Of course. The whole thing about Mr. Woody not being romantically involved with Ms. Wilson really did hit him like a ton of bricks. Now it's like he just realizes that there's a significant chance he might not be the boy's father. Oh boy, talk about a bombshell. It seems like things just keep getting more complicated.
When I met Mr. Woody, I was walking down the street with my friend. We were drunk and we were going up to the store, and he was in an apartment complex holding, with his daughter in a stroller, and he said, "You're cute." And I was like, "Oh, you cute too."
Well, isn't this a twist? Well, talk about a roller coaster. So now she's telling the court that there was only one other man she was involved with during that time? This information would leave either of them potentially as little baby Woody's father. Right now, it gets even more interesting.
The girl that I was dating was responding to the messages that she was sending me. I have a couple of pieces of evidence, and I got the picture of me and my son, and I have the messages from Facebook.
What a text. Now everyone's sitting on the edge of their seats to find out what Mr. Woody's girlfriend responded with. The message itself shows that something is up. Ms. Wilson is ready for a fight and will not hesitate to give it to him if he brings it on.
First message I got back was, I think he said the B word, "You're lying," or something like that. And I honestly thought it was him. And so when I got that message, Your Honor, I'm like, I basically went off like, all I want is your money, point blank period.
Wait, what? After learning he could potentially be the baby's father, Mr. Woody is not shying away. Instead, he returned to town and stepped up to the task, accompanying Ms. Wilson to ultrasounds, attending her doctor's appointments, and being there every step of the way. He stepped up.
While I was sleeping with Mr. Woody, I had sex with my boyfriend and everything. He was the last person I initially had intercourse with. So the last time I had intercourse, it was with Mr. Woody.
Now wait a minute. The big question is, if they were both potential baby daddies, why did Ms. Wilson not tell the other guy that she could be having his baby? Yet another question now is, when did Mr. Woody start having doubts since he did all of this for the baby? He already believed he had a son that was completely his own. So what changed?
I'm at one of my friend's wakes, he had just passed away. So, we at the wake or whatever, and I see her sister, good friends with her son's father. I think you should go get a DNA test.
What a ride. The stories here are getting a lot more complicated. Now, Ms. Wilson, why would anyone walk up to Mr. Woody asking him to take a paternity test so randomly too if there's nothing to be suspicious about? How exactly does that add up?
I've seen her stand in the apartment complex with two dudes, so they all go their separate ways. So the dude one of the dudes come back by himself, so I stop him like, "Hey, bruh, you feel me, is she pregnant?" And he like, "Yeah, by my brother."
Well. After hearing all of that, there's no possible way Ms. Wilson does not feel a mountain of regret. How do you sleep with so many men during the same time frame and expect one MM to claim paternity of the baby without a paternity test?
It's been a roller coaster,
Yeah.
Meaning one day you think you're the father, the next day you don't know if you're the father. Then you back in town thinking you're the father, then the guy comes down the street and says you're not the father.
For sure, Judge Lake took the words right out of our mouths. What a roller coaster it must have been for Mr. Woody, really. All these men, all these doubts popping up from nowhere, every time. It makes one wonder if he really is the father of the baby. Well, we'll find out soon enough. Here are the results.
Mr. Woody, you are not his father.
What?
Jerome, will you please have her sit down?
She cheated on him. Already, she admits to have made the biggest mistake of her life by doing that. Ms. Doyle cheated on her perfect fiancé. Now she's in paternity court, and you can bet $1 million on this. She is not having a good time.
I love Brittany, and I love Sophia to death. They're my world, but she lied to me. She kept the truth from me, and it kills me. I hope I am Sophia's father. I love her to death. That's my baby.
So you say you love her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, what an emotional one this is turning out to be. Of course, it's expected that he is unhappy. I can't imagine that he'd be anything else after hearing that sort of news, honestly. With all this love Mr. Fisher seems to have for her and the baby, what then pushed this woman to cheat?
I think that he is the father. I know 100%. I mean, he was there through the whole pregnancy, and he does everything for me. He works, he supports our family, he runs my baths, he cooks my food, he cleans our house, he rubs my back and rubs my feet. He's a great father.
Oh my goodness, the list is endless. After this court case, Mr. Fisher is definitely going home with a fan club of women at his back from the court and all over the world. What do you mean this man is so intentional about loving you and you went ahead to cheat? What happened, Ms. Doyle?
One of her family members met. We became best friends. Like, we was close like this. He took me around her, and I just fell for her. Ever since then, I've loved her. She's beautiful.
No, wait a minute. Now, is this paternity court or some romantic reality TV show? Are these two in the right place? With all of this love and romance in court today, how exactly did it turn sour? Why would you cheat on all of this?
Vacation with one of his family members in Florida, and another one of his family members that he was with at the time had texted me, and he said, Trey's cheating on you, which we call him Trey, but his name is John.
Wow, he did what? He cheated on her. So what? She decided to cheat back? Did she ask him about it? Did she talk to him about it? From our experience on paternity court, it is quite safe to conclude that some family members do not have the best interest of said person at heart. So now, was that why she cheated?
Like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So I go back to his camper with him, and we talked about it, and then one thing led to another. He kissed me, and then we had sex.
Whoa, now it all adds up. What a woman. She got a text that her husband was cheating and went on to sleep with someone else a minute later. Now, it turns out that the family member was lying for God knows what reason, and she's the only one cheating in this relationship.
And Mr. Fisher, as you stand here, I can see how difficult it is to hear your fiance describe the night she had sex with another person. And you knew nothing about this until after Sophia was born.
Oh boy, did she break this man. Ms. Doyle cheated and kept it a secret until after the baby was born. So this woman really just woke up next to her husband each day knowing that she cheated on him and let it go on for 9 months. How does one even go on from this?
I held her, kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything. I thought it was my baby. We stayed there for 3 days. The most important, amazing, wonderful.
Man, isn't he just precious? This man has been everything Ms. Doyle ever wanted from day one up until now. It brings up the big question of how the hell did she believe that text in the first place? It's super evident how this man is with his family. Why then would she suddenly believe that he was cheating without evidence?
We just had fun all day that day, just holding Sophia, spending time with her, just quality time. And she started looking at Sophia, started crying, kept crying. She told me she cheated on me. I tell her I love her, she's my world, so is Sophia.
What a glorious way to break the news of cheating. What other time is perfect but on a sunny afternoon while your fiancé is playing with the baby he may not be the father of? After all of this hurt and cheating, it's time to get what we came here for. Here are the results.
Mr. Fisher, you are the father. Oh, you can stand there with him if you'd like.
Next up, we have one of the most emotionally chaotic cases. The father, or potential father, is really unhappy to be here. Right from the case introduction, Mr. McGreer is shaky and almost in tears. Though Amia is supposedly born from a summer affair from 20 years back, he loves her so much and is here to prove that he is indeed her biological father. Amia, on the other hand, is having none of this.
I'm doing this because I love her, and I really want her to know. I really apologize for the times that I wasn't there and couldn't be the dad that I really want to be.
I don't believe that you're my father. I don't want you to be my father.
Phew, what an exchange. Amia has her own share of expressed feelings as she emotionally told the court what life was like without her father completely present in her life. And oh my, what a description that was.
Look at them days when I wasn't there. I'm in one state, you in another state.
It doesn't matter. If you really thought that you was my father, you would have made a way to be there. No matter what you went through, you was never there. And then you want to come in and out of my life 5 years at a time.
Mr. McGreer is trying so hard to get words in. He is trying to plead his case, but Amia is just too broken to listen. It's really interesting that hurt people have all the power to hurt people this way. What an emotional case we have here.
You should have been there. It doesn't matter.
I understand how you feel.
No, you don't.
Oh, I understand how you feel.
No, you don't. Because if you did, you would have made an effort to be there no matter what.
But I did make efforts to be there with you.
But you bounced in and out of my life.
But when I could, I did.
Well, well, well. So, Amia is here explaining with so much pain that he skipped about 7 years of her life at intervals. According to this hurt woman, that does not give him the right to suddenly want to show up right now. That's completely understandable. This woman is hurt to the bone.
We tried to work it out then, but things just didn't work out, and I actually gave him an ultimatum. I actually told him, it's either me and your daughter, or it's your lifestyle.
What a case this is becoming. So, The two parents had a summer affair, broke up, and she started dating another man about 2 weeks later. Fast forward to the father and daughter's first meeting, Amia was already 2.5 months old. What a tasty story.
He made so many promises that he didn't keep. When I was 13, promised to get me a whole new wardrobe of clothes for school. I had to go to school with the same clothes I put last year, and that resulted into me being bullied all high school.
Whew! If you thought Amia was done talking about her hurt, oh boy, are you wrong. This woman recalled memories from her childhood that hurt her the most. She has these memories and recounted them so perfectly like they were kept in a box.
Do you hear her when she's speaking, Mr. McGreer?
Yes, actually, Mia actually got more time than any of my other kids, except for the newborns that I have.
But Ms. Wade, I think she feels a level of envy.
Oh boy, isn't that the wildest thing? As it would turn out, there are other kids. What a moment. Imagine having all these feelings and still having to deal with your father giving his time and attention to his other babies.
He would just come around and speak to me, you know, give me a little change, like pocket full of change. He said that he could be my father, and that's when he automatically introduced me to like 6 of his other kids. And after that, I spent more time with them. He's been taking care of me ever since that age.
Newborns. It keeps getting wilder. Now, Amia goes on to narrate how there was another father figure in her life since she was about 11 years old, and it seems like he was everything she ever dreamed of? What is that about? Now, can we really blame her though?
And I want to be a better dad. And if you allow me, there'll be no more broken promises. There'll be no more broken promises. I don't like to make promises that I can't keep. That hurts me even more not to be able to come through when I say that.
Whoa, so after Ms. Wade was asked about this perfect father, she revealed that it was the person that she got into a relationship with after her little summer fling 20 years ago. What an interesting turn of events.
Mr. McGreer, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
But like I said, the broken promises won't be broken. This doesn't change.
What a beautiful outburst of emotion. Such raw genuinity that can't possibly be faked. To wrap all this up, the results are finally in. You did not see these reactions coming. She added earlier that she would never let him be her father, huh? Isn't that something? Watch this.
Mr. McGreer, I want you to keep loving that arm you got around her, just like that. I can see how much you've grown, because that's what a father does. Protects, provides, and at the end of the day, stands beside you, no matter what.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven, or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. He knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time.
What an interesting revelation from her very first retort in court. She does not like Hispanic men, I see. Oh, Ms. Salvo. Nobody asked about your sexual preference. If you're so particular about Hispanic men, explain the Hispanic baby in court right now. You were drunk, huh?
Now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor. The whole part 6 times. That's ridiculous. It wasn't even good, so why would I keep going?
What a woman. She is right, though. It takes just one time. Now, here's the question of who's lying between them. Is it Mr. Gonzalez with his 6-time count, or Ms. Salvo with his 1-time hit? Regardless of what it is, someone is definitely going to have a mountain of regret.
Is that the only reason you excluded your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Is because you felt like Amaya looked Hispanic and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does.
Well, would you look at that? Every single time, one person in court always feels entitled to the semblance card. If Ms. Salvo thinks her baby belongs to Mr. Gonzalez simply because she looks like him, she really has no valid point, especially after having sex with other men. Who's to say that her ex-boyfriend does not have Hispanic ancestry?
My doubts is, I took my best friend over there to her house. 5 days later, I get in the car with my best friend. He's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, I'm sorry, Julio, but I gotta show you something. I'm like, what you mean you gotta show me something?
Whoa, she did what? Now, why was Mr. Gonzalez's friend at her house? More so, how do the pictures exist if Ms. Salvo never takes naked pictures? Like she said, these pictures are suggestive, and Mr. Gonzalez has nothing to gain from lying about them. Now, again, who is lying between these two?
I guess what you would call it fast. That was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb. I was a kid. I did everything with whoever at that time. I conceived my daughter at 18.
Whoa, let's get one thing straight first. She was pregnant with her baby when she was what? The amount of teenage pregnancies on paternity court is absolutely alarming. Also, Ms. Salvo is admitting to being promiscuous. Now all that is left is to figure out which of them is lying.
This Mexican guy keep looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. I asked, actually, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight me? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I tell him, you're the baby daddy.
Oh my goodness. What are these stories about different men coming up at various intervals? Why is a random man from her elementary school coming into her life right now? If truly it was elementary school, why then did he want a baby by you? Has he been saying that since elementary school, Ms. Salvo?
Mr. Gonzalez, you know, it seemed as if you were hoping Amaya was your daughter.
I want Amaya to be my daughter.
You do?
Yeah, I don't want her. It's not her fault she's here in this world. She's an innocent little girl.
What a woman. Bless her dear soul. She did all of that for the baby amidst the thick fog of doubt in the air that the baby may not be her son's. It really helps nobody when one person says one thing and the other person claims another story. Now that all of the fog is ever, we simply cannot wait to get the results.
If she is your biological child,
I would like to have weekends.
you're going to step up to the plate
Yes, ma'am.
and do what needs to be done to care for this beautiful little girl?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
What a guy. Now, we get to find out whose story holds water. From Ms. Salvo denying all the cheating allegations to Mr. Gonzalez claiming that his fiancée slept with 1 million men and some. Who made the mistake and who is going to regret their silly decisions?
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Can I still come around and see Amaya and help her out if I can? Because for a year and 4 or 5 months, she's been my daughter and she's still gonna be my daughter.
Mr. Hughes is stuck between two crazy moms in court today. One is his mother and the other is his ex's. Ms. McBirth, his mother, is sick and tired of her son having so many babies. That's why she's denying her potential grandchild and demands a paternity test.
Father, this woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. She, as a matter of fact, I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family at all. Can I show it? Can I?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Oh, look at her go. She really brought a picture of father and baby to court, saying that they look nothing alike. Back to the ex-girlfriend, she insists that Ms. McBirth is in denial and is projecting her feelings on the baby's paternity.
So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, maybe because he is so white?
Because he all the white. He ain't got no black in here. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere, okay?
That was a very racist thing to say, Ms. McBirth. Does this woman realize that genes work in the funniest ways? What a thing to say in the courtroom. Sure, she may be tired of her son having children willy-nilly, but that does not give her the right to be mean to her son's baby mama.
Okay, so a little over a year. Were you in a committed relationship?
I thought we was.
You did, okay. And was he the only person you were intimate with during that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now she knows she lying. She
say
lying.
Yes, ma'am.
This DNA right here has been in our life. She's never was a girlfriend. You are a vampire. You are just a...
Whoa, it seems like we have 3 crazy women in court today. Now, where did all of this even come from? Who is this woman? And why is she all up in Ms. Jackson's business? If she says she believes was in a committed relationship with Mr. Hughes, then let the poor woman be.
Thank you. A side chick.
And it's all she has done is she's been trying to put the baby on us.
Force it. Yeah, you have. Don't sit up and act like you haven't.
But the thing about her,
she's trying to push that baby on. That ain't mine. I didn't sleep with her. That child is not ours.
When you say she's trying to push the baby on you, what do you mean?
Now, Ms. Terrell and Ms. McBirth both claim that Ms. Jackson simply wants to throw the baby to their family. They believe that the baby sure as hell isn't theirs. Now, wait a minute. Isn't it suspicious that the supposed father of the baby has not said a word since we started this case? What a family of assertive women.
Tell me about the first time you met Elijah.
I seen him at the doctor's office where I was taking his real children to the doctor, and it was a newborn, and I walked past them, and I kind of glanced over there, and I seen this little white baby. I knew it wasn't mine, and I ain't had nothing else to say or do about it since then. She need to get that out of her head. That child is not mine.
Whoa, hold up. Look how this woman is ready to go head-to-head with Judge Lake. So many things are wrong with everything Ms. McBirth just said. First, his real children. She was taking her son's real children to the hospital. How many kids exactly does this man have? From how many women too? And what, is he mute?
I'm sick of all these little hookers trying to say my son is the daddy. I'm sick of it. I get babies dropped off here, dropped off there. I'm sick of it.
But
it stops today. Because that baby is not my son.
Here's the thing that she does.
It is.
Here's the
Sorry.
That's a lie.
No,
that's
it's
a lie.
not.
That's a lie.
First of all, she's a liar because you just had a wild sex.
There was a sex party? The police came? What about the baby? Where was the baby while all of this was going down? Also, can someone please tell Ms. McBirth that the baby she'll be picking up would definitely not stop today, considering that her mute son already has about 1 million kids already?
Some order. Miss McBirth, I have to ask you, you're very tough on Miss Jack. Do you have anything to say about your son's behavior?
My son, he's a handsome guy. He's my son. And I know what he do. But he still, no matter what he do, he's still gonna be my son.
So hold on one second. Just take a look at the monitor. When you look at this picture,
Of course we cannot expect Judge Lake to sit still and take all of that from crazy moms. She's sitting up and asking the right questions. Her son has been in the court since the start of the case, and he has not said a word. We have no idea whether he accepts the child or not. Now she's saying the sight of her son being loving to his baby makes her want to throw up.
do you believe you are Elijah's father?
I just gave him the benefit of the doubt because I'm biracial. My father's white, you know.
That child is not my son's.
Oh my goodness, she married a white man? After all of that, she still has the guts to be so racist about her potential grandchild. Considering that his past is biracial, that provides more reason for the baby to look white. What an unreasonable woman Ms. McBirth is proving to be. After all of this endless bickering, we get to hear the results.
Are Elijah's.
You a lying trick. What did you do? What did you do? She probably
can't get rid of Satan to save our lives.
Trash. I'm through. I know that's a damn lie. I know that's a damn lie. I'm sick of that.
Mr. Johnson says that Ms. Owen tricked him into signing his son's birth certificate. Currently, he does not believe baby Dakari is his, but he earnestly wishes that he is. Ms. Owens always believed that it was his baby. However, she sees a semblance between a 4-year-old baby Dakari and her ex, Mr. Tyson, now passed.
You two were in a relationship, am I correct?
Yes.
Got pregnant? He was at the hospital. Mr. Johnson was at the hospital.
And
with
I
her.
paid for him to come to the hospital. I bought his ticket. I paid for him to come back. Where's all this coming from, and though, I paid man? for him to go to Chicago
What?
to
So
live
wait,
with his
wait,
daddy.
wait,
That was $108.
Hold on.
She went on to sleep with another man, although she was in a relationship. Then she goes on to say that she was in love with Mr. Johnson, and that explains why she did not realize that there could possibly be another father. Apparently, all her focus was on Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
You signed the birth certificate?
Yes, I did. He ain't do nothing else. That's all he did.
And you were living
I
with?
was living there with
Living
her.
with
Once I came there with her, you know, I was paying for everything. I was paying to go back and forth to the doctor visits. He did not pay. He All only that. went. He ain't never been to one of my doctor visits with me, never in life. And the day when I was,
Oh, now she says she's a woman and would not be referred to by anything else? Let's all play the petty card then. Ms. Owens called Mr. Johnson Little One numerous times in court today. He flipped the coin and called her a girl one time, and she is not having any of it. More so, who do we believe if these two are saying different things? Did Mr. Johnson provide for the baby or not?
To learn from you how you found out the unfortunate news that Mr. Tyson had passed away.
I was calling a friend in Job Corps, see how she was doing, and that's when she had told me that she see him on the news and he just got killed.
And at the time she told you, you still had in your mind this.
So from the very beginning, she really did believe Mr. Johnson was the father. No wonder he feels so betrayed now. How do you tell someone he's the father of your baby for 4 years? Then out of the blue, you switch things up on the resemblance card.
Or did you say to yourself, oh my goodness, this could be my child's father that passed away?
Shut up and quit talking. You can hear something with them little bitty
answer.
ears.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, like I said, it was never in my mind that he was my baby daddy. This little fella was in my mind, okay? How could that not be in your mind?
These two having a serious conversation is almost like a joke. Even Judge Lake has a problem with getting a word in. Now, Mr. Johnson is extremely bothered by the fact that Ms. Owens did have intercourse with another man, but is making it seem like she forgot about that or something.
All of this, little one, have a seat. You're not making anybody look bad except yourself.
You up here talking to me?
No, I'm addressing him next.
Oh, well, you should
So
get him
the
first.
point is, no. Let's get this straight.
You, go. Judge. Judge Lake is back with her school bus, this time taking both the mother and potential father to school and right back to paternity court. In the middle of all this, Ms. Owens keeps trying to be dramatic. This time, maybe you should sit down instead, Ms. Owens.
I don't want him up here acting like you or you. I don't want him acting like either one of you. You are a terrible example to your child. A what a respectful human being acts like. Clowning in here. And a child sitting up here and don't know if his father's here or in a grave. You clowning, and I will not have it. Keep your mouth shut.
Now, we're talking. All of that bickering to Judge Lake, it looked like we were never going to leave court today. For such a long time, they're completely losing sight of what's most important right now, and that's finding Dakari's paternity.
My son was killed in May of 2009 on the Detroit East Side. I heard from Alexis shortly after that my son might be the father of her son. I would like for him to be my grandson because it'll be a part of my son. I have something.
It's impossible to imagine how Mrs. Williams is feeling right now. To genuinely want Dakari to be her grandchild because it would mean that a piece of her son remains with her shows how much her son meant to her. Bless his soul.
You are not his father.
There it is. There it is, right there. I already knew it from the beginning, though, man. All thing she had to do was come out and tell me, you know?
I have the next set of results here.
Oh my goodness. The pain Mr. Johnson must be trying to hide right now is insane. To think that Dakari has Mr. Johnson's last name too. Imagine having a child for 4 years and then having that ripped away from you. Let's find out if there is a third paternity option nobody knows about.
Of related is 99.99. Ms. Williams, you got your wish?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
And Ms. Owens, you're emotional. How do you feel?
You really want to know?
Absolutely.
He has 3 kids with his wife and says that getting married to her was a mistake. Mr. Wallace is back in paternity court and he's back here with chaos. This man is the epitome of irresponsibility, and the women just can't get enough of him. Right now, there are 2 crazy moms in court with Mr. Wallace.
But you're not single.
I am.
You're not single. You are married to her.
That was an accident. That was
No.
a...
So now it was an accident. Okay.
So now it was an accident.
And so,
right.
And so I hope you are not suggesting that your relationship with...
So he has 2 women with children for him? And if he claims to hate the mothers, why exactly did he go to them to have not one, but numerous babies? What a guy. It's crazy that he believes he's single each time he walks up to a woman. How about the woman you consented to marry, Mr. Wallace? How about that?
Correction, he's lying because he was texting me a couple of weeks ago telling me how he still loved me. So you honestly still love me, the relationship just over with.
You married to him.
Yes, but we're trying to get divorced. I want nothing to do with
I'll give you all this news.
Wait a second. Hold up a minute. He's texting his wife that he apparently hates so much about how he loves her? Where did all that love go while he was sleeping around with Ms. Austin and living in her house? Again, what a guy.
Okay, step on up here. I want to hear from you. Now you say you are the soon-to-be Mrs. Wallace, even though that's technically still his wife. What are you thinking that you're engaged to a man that's still married? That don't make no sense.
Oh, now that right there is a big mistake. Ms. Austin admitting to falling for what he says even after everything she's hearing in court? It's wild how everyone is so stuck up on this man. What exactly is he offering aside from his unfortunate sown oats?
I thought he pulled himself together to be in a relationship with me. That's what I thought.
You did? Why did you think that?
He stopped doing everything. He stopped cheating. He even gave me his phone.
But did you know that Miss Reed said he just texted her a couple weeks ago and said he wanted to be with her and Miss Roberts?
I didn't know that he texted.
Of course there's another woman involved in all of this. God only knows the amount of damage Kendra Lynn has done to have been sent out of the courtroom. What a delusional woman Ms. Austin is turning out to be. She really chooses to believe that Mr. Wallace would stop everything he already does and get himself together for her.
Mr. Wallace, you were administered a lie detector test. In advance of taking the lie detector test, you admitted to having sex with 4 other women that were not involved in this case.
Well, isn't that just precious? He's had sex with 4 other women that are not involved in this case over the past 3 months. That makes a total of 7 different women he's had sex with over the past 3 months. One would think we were on post-apocalyptic Earth with Mr. Wallace as the last man standing required to repopulate the planet.
I'll tell you what you are.
A liar.
Thank you.
A cheater.
You is too.
No, don't say I am nothing.
Because you cheat on me.
No, you didn't. No,
If I could go back to hands of
lies?
time, I would have done more things when I was.
Is that the lies you said?
So what you're saying is, if you could go back in time, you would cheat on your wife
yes,
more.
I would do it again.
Because you feel like
she is
Now, the courtroom is getting spicy. Looks like Mr. Wallace serves well as our crazy mom today. Jerome had to step in to prevent him from beating up everybody in the courtroom and calm him down. After everyone hears that you cheated on your wife with 6 different women, nobody is going to support you no matter what you call her, Mr. Wallace.
Listen to me. You don't flip people off. You don't use profanity in my courtroom. You understand me? No. You want to go out of here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Wallace, get out the court. Get out the court. You know what?
Hey,
You
what are you going to do about
than
it?
I thought you were.
Let's go.
Get out the courtroom, Mr. Wallace. Mr. Wallace, leave the...
Now, what a dramatic day this is proving to be. It would seem that Mr. Wallace keeps projecting his frustrations on Jerome. Isn't that shocking? Jerome is stepping up simply because Mr. Wallace cannot keep profanities out of his mouth.
Apologize to you in the court, and the bailiff, to Miss Reed and Miss Austin.
Well, I believe we have all experienced a bunch of emotions from Mr. Wallace's case today. It's been an entire roller coaster. Who would have thought that it would end with an apology alongside him admitting that he needed help? What a case. Now, on to the results.
Mr. Wallace, you are the father.
I gotta go.
Mr. Wallace, how you feel?
Glad that he's my son, and I apologize for all the pain and suffering that I caused all 3 of these women for like the past 2 years. It's been going on every day.
He keeps denying the baby only when the mother says that they can't be together. What a man. Ms. Marsh and Mr. Reed have been in an off-and-on relationship for the past 8 years. Now she's moved on, but Mr. Reed is not having any of it. He claims that she wants to trap him with the baby.
In your mind, was this a relationship or what?
She knew I was dating other women.
I never knew he was dating other women. On Torrance's birthday, he asked me to go on a trip with him to a resort with his family. 2 women pop up at the hotel room, and he said, "This is my wife."
Your Honor,
and I said, "It's over."
Your Honor, on the way to the...
What?
Your Honor, on the way...
Hold on
now. I told her I was taking her to meet my wife.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's just so much going on. He threw a birthday party for her daughter that she had before she met him after he claimed that nothing was happening between them, and he took her on a vacation alongside his already existing family, where she met 2 women that he already married. Now that justifies this crazy mom. Who?
Pregnant? I didn't see her because he came out to be a very nice, strong person.
And Miss Marsh, your tears right now, what are you feeling? You just feel...
Because, like, I've been knowing him since I was 18, and this really hurt. This hurt. And then he want to go travel state to state to have different babies. And
oh my goodness, she was 18. Now it makes a lot of sense that she would fall for all of his bamboozlement. Why be in your 30s and go after an 18-year-old, Mr. Reed? To think that his mom was involved and she kept on doing the most unsupportive things.
So we went to the store, got a whole bunch of pregnancy tests. Then we went to the pregnancy center, we got an ultrasound. And then later on, he had left to go console a girl in California that was having a miscarriage.
You knew this?
I stay in California, I stay in Chicago.
If you do so much as drop a hint to a man, most especially a father of many nations such as Mr. Reed, that the baby is not his, he will drop you like it's hot and find his way to the other side of the earth.
When you're angry with him, do you tell him this is not his baby?
Because he's always trying to do something.
But that's yes.
Of course.
But that is yes.
And it only happened once that I told him
3
that.
times.
It
You
never
just told me
happened
this
3
last
times.
Women just don't seem to understand. That's a bell you can't unring. If you looked at him and said, "This is not your child," in an argument.
Oops. Ms. Marsh just confessed to another man being in the picture. They had intercourse on a day so close to the time she spent with Mr. Reed. It's not like he is any better too, Mr. Companions in 4 states. Who's to say how many companions he has per state too? Hats off to him for the diversity.
So, Tamari is 1 year old.
Yes.
How much of a relationship have you had with her, Mr. Reed?
Well, I stayed with Miss Marsh for the last, 7 months?
So now you back staying with her?
No, I left.
Well, well, well. Turns out he has been staying with Ms. Marsh for 7 months prior. Looks like he was present for most of Tamari's life since she's just about 1 year old. Now, with Ms. Marsh and her mother's argument saying that he has never supported her apart from the time he threw a birthday party, who do we really trust to tell the truth?
If for some reason he is not Tamari's biological father, father.
It would hurt, but I know that's his daughter. Like, my baby she's light-skinned, but she looked just like him.
And you believe?
If baby Tamari ends up not being his, that would be such a shock to everybody. Considering that the baby girl is so attached to Mr. Reed right now, it would be really hurtful to see. Where does Mrs. Marsh go from here? Does the other man even want to be a father? Has he been present in baby Tamari's life?
Mr. Reed, you are not the father.
Now I feel like the goofy. I done went through all this, and
that's why you
all
got
the
put in
time,
jail.
all the time I'm believing she knew this. I done
need
flew
to-
all the way down here
Listen.
to look like a goofy.
Oh my goodness, Judge Lake is on a roll. Turns out the baby is not his, but that gives him no right to drag Ms. Marsh through the mud like that. He dragged her through the mud for literally half her life, with all the lies and whatnot. Now this man is saying he feels like a clown? Oh, please.
Say something. It doesn't feel good when the shoe is on the other foot. So obviously, Ms. Marsh, there is someone else.
I know who the father is.
Is it the person that
Yes,
you
it's
talked
the
about?
person that
Does he
come here.
want to be a part of Tamari's life?
Well, he has 10 kids, so.
He has how many?
He has 10 other kids.
Mr. Barlow and Ms. Winslow are genuinely trying to turn everyone's head on paternity court with their confusing story. Even though Judge Lauren will get to the bottom of this by opening the envelope, these two have some storytelling to do.
Barlow, you say your 8 kids look exactly like you, but the defendant's son, Jabril, looks nothing like you. And that's because you're not his father. And you know.
There's a good reason for the child not being Mr. Barlow's as revealed by Ms. Winslow, but what does that even mean? What kind of good reason will be good enough for Mr. Barlow to not be the biological father of the child in question? Let's find out.
Well, tell us why you doubt Jabril and who you believe his real father is.
Your Honor, I doubt these things due to the fact that during the time of Jabril's conception, I was away. You understand?
The landlord? Was Ms. Winslow trying to make the family live rent-free or something? That could be her only explanation if Mr. Barlow's claim is true. Knowing Judge Lauren, she would want to hear both parties speak, and so do we. So let's hear Ms. Winslow's side of the story.
And that's not possible, Your Honor. The landlord.
Why do you believe that? What evidence do you have? Did you hear something?
While I was away, I would call all the time because I got a long past of infidelity.
Payback's a what now? Whew! Now this is really confusing. Mr. Barlow just admitted he has a long history of cheating on Ms. Winslow, and that was her reason for supposedly having sexual relations with their landlord, which may have now resulted in her birthing baby Jabril.
While I'm away, I'm calling and stuff. She says, yo, you calling me? He here. Call me
Your
back.
Honor, the landlord was there
And
at the
I'm-
house.
So you're
because
saying when
he
you
was-
would- Yeah.
He was doing his landlord responsibility.
So why hang up on me when I'm...
Hope the landlord responsibilities Ms. Winslow is talking about doesn't involve the removal of clothes, because that is completely not related to landlord responsibilities. So what could the landlord's responsibilities be exactly? If he's in the house by 10 p.m.?
Because he doesn't have contractors. He does things.
So what his
in a
so-called girlfriend
three-story
thinking about
building.
this?
He doesn't have a hired contract. He's doing everything himself. So if he has to come at 10 o'clock at night to fix some water.
Oh wow, Ms. Winslow isn't taking it easy on Mr. Barlow and even Judge Lauren on this one. Ms. Winslow's reason for the landlord being in their house that late is because he needs to get some stuff fixed. Yeah, 10 p.m. might be late for any repair work to be done, but maybe Ms. Winslow has a point concerning her children's safety.
This man running a business. Now, you gotta pay me $2,500 for rent, right? For what reason do I say, okay, you ain't got it? Just give me $300.
This is what happened. When I moved into this apartment building,
man,
I had got duped.
Ms. Winslow is saying the landlord was kind enough to give her a roof over her head without paying a penny till she collects her money back from the crooked landlord that scammed her. Wait, is there really a landlord like that? Well, there are a few good people left in the world.
And she basically just hung up.
Yeah, hang up on me. Then when I came home one time,
He
I pop
calls
up.
to hold the phone. He
I pop.
calls to try to see if he can hear noise in the background. I'm at home with 3 boys.
It seems Mr. Barlow will be taking more blows than he threw to Ms. Winslow. Mr. Barlow's insecurities are really at work, and honestly, cheating on someone leaves the thought that the person might also be cheating. So Mr. Barlow's perfect pick for his wife's affair is their landlord, who he realized wasn't an old man.
He doesn't look like me or Mr. Barlow. So now that leads me to believe the only way that this baby is not this man's child is if he's not mine. I believe something happened at the hospital.
Switched at birth? Yeah, that's a first, like Judge Lauren mentioned. That's going to be a long search at the hospital to find Mr. Barlow and Ms. Winslow's biological baby. However, let's see if the baby belongs to Mr. Barlow first before considering the switch at birth phase.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Barlow, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you.
The bottom line is you are the mother.
Ms. White and Mr. Flowers will be giving Judge Lauren a tough time in court with their rare type of paternity case. It's about to be another long session, so let's get ready to pick the tiniest details for a good judgment before the paternity verdict.
Ms. White, you say you have no doubt when it comes to who your 4-month-old child Major's biological father is, even though you were intimate with the neighborhood ice cream man.
Okay, Ms. White seems to not have gotten over her childhood love for neighborhood ice cream, but sadly, it's a different ball game here because Ms. White is not addicted to the neighborhood ice cream this time around. Instead, it's the man in charge of the truck that's her addiction. Now that's a funny case.
Flowers owes you $1,846.54 for child care expenses.
Well, because basically I bought diapers, stroller, crib, detergent, toys.
Oh no, this keeps getting worse. Mr. Flowers took the baby's clothes back to the store to be able to purchase some cigarettes? That's ridiculous. Does Mr. Flower really believe he's not the biological father of the baby? Or he just doesn't want to be responsible or do his fatherly duties to the child?
Mr. Flowers is the father.
Yes.
You have no doubt.
No doubt.
In your mind.
Somewhat doubt, but with me and Mr. Flowers.
Tell me why you believe he is.
Because me and Mr. Flowers, that's all we did was have sex.
Having somewhat doubt? Ms. White must be trippin'. What do you mean you're having doubts about him being the biological father, but you're bringing him to paternity court? Oh well, maybe Ms. White just wants to clear that doubt to know who the real baby daddy is.
Mr. Flowers, you say you have doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
And why is that?
I ain't putting no leash and collar on nobody's neck. We was doing what we do, but at the same time, she wanted to go out and kick it.
Now that's the key to the story. Ms. White and Mr. Flowers were just kicking it. There's no prior commitment or any form of relationship. That explains Mr. Flowers' nonchalant attitude, and also him not interested in being responsible for baby Major. It also explains Ms. White's neighborhood ice cream man's sexual relations.
How did you find out about this other guy, Mr. Flowers?
Me and Miss White, we was kicking it, and I had spent the night over there. She falls asleep, text message come through, and it's
Okay, Mr. Flowers was snooping around on Ms. White's phone, and that led to the big secret getting exposed. But hey, Mr. Flowers doesn't have the right to be doing that because he's also having his own business settled outside. So yeah, he can't get mad about it even if he wants to.
You in fact in a sexual relationship with Ms. White? Was it ongoing? Was this just a one-night thing?
Actually, we only did it like...
So you just went out about 4 times. So this wasn't a relationship, wasn't a committed relationship.
No.
And here's Mr. Miles, the neighborhood ice cream man, spilling that the last time he and Ms. White had a sexual encounter, he in fact did not use protection. So there's a big possibility that he's the biological father to Major.
Did you ever tell Mr. Miles he was the father too?
No.
He was a lot.
Mr. Miles?
No, I really didn't.
A lot.
I really did not.
What did she tell you, Mr. Miles?
Right. She had called.
That got ugly real quick. From Ms. White getting caught in a lie by Mr. Miles to the supposed biological fathers of baby Major going back and forth about who the daddy is. Now that's a big problem. Mr. Miles is saying no feature of the baby resembles his features, but Mr. Flowers thinks he's the father since he ain't the father.
LOL, you just don't know. My child got so many men willing to do your part. The next text said, my baby need a pop that's getting money on a daily.
Seems Ms. White is all about a different thing entirely than being a mother to her baby. In her words, she's messaging Mr. Flowers asking for care and attention, while what we can see on the screen is her meaning the complete opposite of that. Maybe we should talk about that result now, because this keeps getting more awkward.
It has been determined by this court. His father is Mr. Flowers.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, you're right.
I already knew that.
In the case of Jackson versus Lipscomb Jackson, Judge Lauren's court is about to witness another confusing story, a full blown up mistress and wife's fight, and even probably the end of a marriage. Now, let's break this down in the easiest way possible.
You say you're here to confront your husband's mistress and to prove her 1-month-old daughter, Kiesha, is not his biological daughter. Your Honor. Furthermore, you say...
So yeah, it's about a mistress and wife. The wife of Mr. Jackson wants to prove Ms. Lipscomb's baby doesn't belong to her husband to avoid any sort of disturbance in her marriage. However, if the DNA test proves the baby is actually for Mr. Jackson, Ms. Jackson says she won't hesitate to end their union.
Find out your husband may be having a child with his mistress.
Your Honor, let's talk about that. I got an epiphany, call it woman's intuition, whatever you want. Well, I went to my husband's job. It was about 9:30 or 10:30 at night.
Ms. Lipscomb was bold for that, and Ms. Jackson, well, let's say her woman intuition shouldn't be joked with. As for Mr. Jackson, messing around with 2 black women may just be the end of him.
Ms. Lipscomb, upon meeting her, he told me she was 3 weeks pregnant. This was November 25th. He wears his wedding, well, not lately, Your Honor, but he wore his wedding band faithfully. Well, if I see a wedding band on a man's finger,
that's how it's supposed to be. Ms. Jackson, shunning a man that is wearing his wedding bands is right, but it seems not all women know that. It's more like some women are attracted to the men that make it known that they are married, and the married men too? Oh, that's for another time.
Okay, what is it you feel she's leaving out?
I don't know what her intentions was when she came to that job. Why did she come up there or why didn't she come up there?
That's my husband.
I've never seen her a day in my life. I knew her voice.
Y'all already know it's gonna be double trouble when it's 2 women in the stand. Ms. Jackson says she's married to Mr. Jackson, but Ms. Lipscomb is saying she was tagged a baby mama in Mr. Jackson's story. So who's lying? The supposed wife or Ms. Lipscomb that is the mistress?
He had the ring, but the ring was never saying that this is my wife. The ring said this is from my previous marriage.
But why do you wear a ring from a previous marriage on the ring finger?
Ms. Lipscomb really got tricked that the ring is from a previous marriage and he just loves wearing the expired wedding band? No man would be interested in doing that. Men don't even like wearing their wedding band when they are up and doing in their marriage. Oh yeah, that's common sense, like Ms. Jackson pointed out.
And says she had no idea you had a wife.
No, she didn't, because I never mentioned it to her, Your Honor.
So that part of her statement is true. You never told her you were married.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson, you are the perpetrator of this mess.
Mr. Jackson is here and he's siding with Ms. Lipscomb that she's telling the truth about her not knowing. Mr. Jackson is already married to Ms. Jackson. But wait, Mr. Jackson claims he didn't lie about not being married, he just didn't tell Ms. Lipscomb about it. Interesting?
Jackson, what happened when you found out your mistress was pregnant?
I found out when I was in jail, because I guess the beginning of the year, her birthday time, she got sick and went to the hospital.
So Mr. Jackson finds out his mistress is pregnant through his wife? Oh well, so this is the confusing part we are talking about. Anyway, Ms. Lipscomb also had a boyfriend on the side. Maybe everyone can now understand the reason Ms. Jackson strongly believes the baby isn't for her husband.
Said that a young man was taking care of her when she was sick, Your Honor. She said that the young man was taking care of her.
And your husband know that too. So what else are you
that it was the young man's baby. From my standpoint,
calling someone's child a community baby is kind of a low blow, but judging from Ms. Jackson's standpoint, as she mentioned, she may just be right. Ms. Lipscomb doesn't look like she knows the father of her child, and Ms. Jackson won't allow her to pin it on her husband.
Automatically claimed all legal and financial responsibilities to that child because he is deemed as my dependent on my military benefits, at which time that child becomes my dependent as well on my benefits.
Ms. Jackson's motive for not wanting that baby to be for her husband is now clear, but Ms. Lipscomb thinks it's a facade, and she should just divorce her husband if she wants to do that. To avoid the continuous twists and turns of this wife versus mistress, let's just get to the bottom of this.
Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
Thank you.
That was not even her husband's child. After all of this.
Mr. and Ms. Chappelle are in Judge Lauren's paternity court to find out if Ms. Chappelle's 5-month-old daughter shares the same blood as Mr. Chappelle. This is another dicey case, but Judge Lauren sure knows how to do justice to cases like this.
Chappelle, you're a married woman who admits to having an affair, and now you say you have questions regarding 5-month-old daughter's paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
Standing next to you is your...
The third party here is Mr. Wells, who happens to be Ms. Chappelle's supposed father. Surprisingly, Mr. Wells doesn't want this couple to have the results because he himself isn't Ms. Chappelle's biological father. Okay, good, but that's not enough reason for Mr. Chappelle not to know if he fathered the baby biologically or not.
So, Mr. Wells, why are you so adamant about not wanting them to have these results?
Well, ma'am, I met her mother when she was pregnant, about 3 months. And
Mr. Wells' story is touching, but just as Mr. Chappelle said, he and Leah have the right to know. No one is falling for Mr. Wells' sentiments about not going down a road that could be sad. It's just better to face it now, get it over with. Even the judge agrees with that part.
Well, we met at a high school football game, and it was love at first sight. We got engaged 4 months later. We got married on Valentine's Day. We had a son together probably about a year later.
Getting bored of the sexual relationship after 1 week is one thing, but allowing it to get out of hand till there's doubts about the paternity of a child while still married is another thing. Mr. Chappelle said he was working 40 hours a week. Man must have been constantly getting exhausted before he got home.
So you admit to having...
Well, he was a friend, and we started sexting, and I would hide it. We would send messages on Facebook. I'd drop my son off at the babysitter's. I would tell my husband I was going somewhere else.
Ms. Chappelle seems to have really needed that intoxicating sexual experience, but she forgot it was at the expense of her husband and the baby that came to life. There are other things to do when a man wouldn't step up in the bedroom. Cheating aggressively isn't one of them, Ms. Chappelle.
The calendar to show I had sex with both of them on the same day at one point.
Yeah. Okay. Jerome, will you please hand me that evidence, please? Can't get any closer in proximity than that. So this is a calendar.
Holy Mary, Mother of Jesus! Ms. Chappelle was two-timing these men to the point where she had sexual contact with both of them on the same day. That's ridiculous. What does Ms. Chappelle mean, that she didn't know the other potential father wasn't pulling out? She must think everyone's a clown.
A lot of information.
It makes me
And
sick.
this is your wife?
Yeah, and I'm working 40 hours a week trying to provide for my family.
You know, I messed up, and you can't just blame it all on me, because it's a marriage.
Exactly. That's a valid point. It could have been more than getting impregnated by another man. Mr. Chappelle was out working 40 hours a week, but unfortunately for him, he could have contracted an incurable disease from his wife's messy affair. That's selfishness, and Ms. Chappelle still wants to act like a victim. No way.
When she told you she was pregnant, did that ring a bell, or did a light come on in your mind that said, uh-oh?
I really didn't think about it, but, you know, we did fight a lot, we argued a lot, but at the time I didn't know.
Being unfair to Mr. Chappelle is an understatement at this point. Ms. Chappelle keeps making the energy in the courtroom kind of stinky, and Ms. Chappelle's attitude isn't helping either.
Pregnant by possible with another man. You know, how you think it's gonna make me feel?
But I made a mistake, and you shouldn't judge me for that if I'm honest with you.
I'm still stuck at we invited him to the doctor's appointment.
A mistake? That really wouldn't be categorized as a mistake, Ms. Chappelle. It didn't happen once or twice. To make matters worse, Ms. Chappelle thinks Mr. Chappelle was at fault for not performing well in bed. Someone needs to tell Ms. Chappelle a divorce would have sufficed. Let's know who the father is.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Chappelle, you are not her biological father.
Why'd you do this for?
I'm so sorry.
Everyone knows coworkers can be messy at times. There have been many cases where coworkers cheat on their partners while at work, but Ms. Hoagland took it to another level by allegedly getting pregnant by a coworker after their affair.
Ms. Hoagland, you confessed to having unprotected sex with your husband, Mr. Hoagland, as well as a coworker within the same time period. Now you say you're here today because
Mr. Hoagland looks like a man that is done with the marriage even before the DNA test result will be revealed. Mr. Hoagland gives more attention and care to the remaining 2 children and excludes 3-year-old Bentley.
Well, Your Honor, my marriage has been a complete nightmare. Randy has held this big cloud over my head for far too long, making me feel guilty for something I feel like.
Mr. Hoagland really thinks there's no way Ms. Hoagland could have conceived 3-year-old Bentley through their copulation. Mr. Hoagland feels the child really belongs to the coworker Ms. Hoagland had sexual relations with. Anyway, Ms. Hoagland wants that guilt to be washed away through this DNA test result.
From the moment I saw her, this guy that she got with obviously took advantage of her.
And why did I get with him? I got with him because your roommate, your controlling roommate at this company.
Celibacy isn't a terrible idea, and Ms. Hoagland having a different sexual partner before they started dating also isn't off track. The problem in this scenario is the baby. Ms. Hoagland isn't sure if it was the meetup with her coworker or her love copulation with Mr. Hoagland that made baby Bentley.
This is the month that I conceived my son. As you can see, on the 2nd is when I had an intimate relationship with my coworker.
In blue.
Yes.
Now that changes the whole course of the story. The window of conception vividly indicates Ms. Hoagland's coworker as the biological father of the baby. So just as you may be wondering, what's Ms. Hoagland's deal with trying to find out if that baby is for her husband? Let's see.
I wouldn't say his nose looks like mine, but it even doesn't. I mean, there's really 3 key factors for why I doubt. It's because she didn't use them.
He doesn't carry himself the way he walks? Somebody remind Mr. Hoagland that the child is just a 3-year-old boy. His walking steps will still change a couple times before he becomes a teenager. The only valid point is that Ms. Hoagland had a thing with someone else during the window of conception.
Yes.
So it's funny how when I mentioned to you just the other week, because we don't live too far, it's a river, it's a very historic river, it's called
The baby's biological father better be Mr. Hoagland or else. It's a wrap for Ms. Hoagland in her husband's house. Mr. Hoagland will send her packing without hesitation, and that is what Ms. Hoagland is scared of. No one wants to lose the man they love. Yeah, right. Nobody is interested in listening to a story about some river we don't know about. Ms. Hoagland did what she did, and what's important right now is to find out about Bentley's paternity.
And this is so stressful that all of this drama and stress, it really got to you because you did not show up to your court appearance that was scheduled yesterday.
Judge Lauren just revealed that Ms. Hoagland had previously missed a court date. All of these is confusing, and maybe the truth will make it easier for everyone and let peace reign. So let's get to it.
Mr. Hoagland Jr., you are Bentley's father.
This particular paternity case may have you wondering how exactly do people get so blinded by weird things and make some really wild mistakes. Let's take a look.
Ms. Brown, you say the only thing that matters to you today is the future of your 1-year-old daughter, Sanaya.
Mr. Rutledge is here with his sister, Ms. Rutledge, to further prove he's not the father of Ms. Brown's 1-year-old daughter. On the other hand, Ms. Brown strongly believes the man in the stand with his sister is definitely the biological father of her daughter. Time to get into details.
So, Ms. Brown, why are you so sure Mr. Rutledge is your daughter's father?
Yes, Your Honor. Me and Mr. Rutledge, we had sexual relations. And
that's a pretty clear answer as to why Ms. Brown believes Mr. Rutledge is the father of her baby. But y'all know it's never as easy as that. Mr. Rutledge will have his side of the story for sure, and even his sister is there for the same reason.
No, I do not, Your Honor.
Please tell me what your side of the story is.
Well, first of all, me and Ms. Brown was never in a relationship. It was only sexual relationship.
Woo, that's a loaded story Mr. Rutledge just revealed. Ms. Brown was being passed around by cousins and brothers? That's messed up. Even Ms. Brown is acting shocked, like she was probably lying unconscious while all of that happened in the Rutledge's family.
Ms. Brown, you left these facts.
Yes, I left them out, Your Honor, because they're not facts. So I never would say, can you pay for a morning after pill before, before we started even messing with each other because we had mutual friends.
That question is really important. Why would Mr. Rutledge truly have anything to do with Ms. Brown if she had in fact done what he was talking about? Was Mr. Rutledge trying to join the alleged train of the Rutledge men having sexual relations with one woman?
Look and seeing pictures of him and his daughter's mother together. So I'm like, okay, so this is where he's at. I'm all upset and everything, so I couldn't wait till he came so I can,
So Mr. Rutledge was leading Ms. Brown on, but things took a different turn after Mr. Rutledge was questioned about his movement. Judge Lauren's court witnesses a lot of revelations than the Catholic Church has at this point. Mr. Rutledge was thinking he would get a free pass after going missing. Oh no.
It was just a casual sexual relationship.
And that's all it was. That's all she good for.
Your Honor, can I just say this? He said that that's all I'm good for, but I must have been good for a lot because he was...
Mr. Rutledge went too far by saying that's all Ms. Brown is good for. That's unfair since it was a mutual thing. It's undeniable that they have their differences, but the court won't allow Mr. Rutledge to downplay a woman's existence in that manner.
Sister first.
Yes.
How did that conversation go?
I just told her I was pregnant. She kind of was in shock and stuff, and she just let me know, you do know, if you decide to keep this baby, it's a chance that you're gonna go through it by yourself.
Maybe Mr. Rutledge just doesn't want to ADD Ms. Brown's daughter to his list of multiple kids. Maybe that's why he's so adamant about not being the biological father of the baby. Ms. Rutledge, being Mr. Rutledge's sister, already made it clear to Ms. Brown she may end up doing it all on her own, and that's what's playing out.
When you gave birth to Sanaya, did Mr. Rutledge, did he show up to the hospital?
No, his sister, Mrs. Rutledge, was there when I had the baby. She was there every day.
Hoping for a baby to DIE should be a criminal offense in the court of law because that's just being outrightly evil. It's a vile statement for anyone to say, not to talk of the supposed father. Yeah, it may not be entirely true, but something similar must have been said about the poor baby. That's off the table. Maybe it's just time for the result. Let's know if Mr. Rutledge will be the biological father or not.
It has been determined by this court that you are her father.
What? Now what? What y'all gotta say now? What do y'all gotta thought? That's what y'all had to say.
I apologize.
Ms. Livingstone's ex-husband insists that he is the father of her child, but she has other thoughts. She thinks the kid belongs to another man. But Mr. Livingstone isn't just going to accept that. He is going to fight for his kid. Here is how that story starts out.
Ms. Livingston, you've petitioned this court for a DNA test on your 21-month-old daughter, Jordan, to prove to your now ex-husband, Mr. Livingston, that he is not Jordan's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, come on, Ms. Livingstone. We know that isn't a good reason to believe that this man is your kid's father. The fact that she has blonde hair does not and cannot automatically mean that she belongs to Mr. Livingstone, right? Let us hear from Mr. Livingstone.
So, Mr. Livingston, you say today that this is your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why are you so sure?
Because I was there through all of it. I was there through the doctor's appointments. I was there through the birth. Everything about that kid looks...
Well, that sounds admirable, but that also cannot be the sole reason you think a child is yours, right? There has to be something more than that. But hold on, because this case is about to get crazy.
So when did the doubt begin to set in, and when were you informed about...
He knew before that there's a possibility because I was messaging Mr. Dorschlag on Facebook, and he told me that he thought that he was the father, but even if he wasn't, that I should leave Mr. Livingston and be with him.
Oh, so Mr. Livingstone is kind of right. Mrs. Livingstone was talking to a man she wanted to leave him for, and that might just be the reason she thinks the baby doesn't belong to him. That would be neat, wouldn't it? That the man she wants to leave her husband for just happens to be her child's actual father. But wait, it gets naughtier.
I never once at that time told him that I was going to move to Tennessee with him.
There were several times throughout this whole time that she was planning on creating a relationship with him.
So Mr. Livingstone doesn't even think there is a paternity question here. He just thinks this is an extension of a divorce drama. Okay then, Mr. Livingstone, the only problem is things are never quite what they seem in paternity court. But what even caused this divorce?
We were sitting on my couch, we were watching a movie at my mom and dad's house, and I hear a knock on the door. Well, it's a cop. He's coming to bring me the divorce papers, and then when he leaves, shortly after that, I get a phone call from my ex-wife over here.
Mr. Livingston, you naughty dog. From a family member? Okay, that is enough reason to get divorced. But Mr. Livingston doesn't think so. Why is Mrs. Livingston so mad about this request for nudes when she slept with another man while she was dating her future husband?
I didn't start messaging Mr. Dorschlag about us getting back together or anything until after I filed for divorce.
That is not true. These messages have happened while she was pregnant with Jordan before she gave birth.
Ooh, tough. Can you imagine your potential wife talking like this about another man? No wonder Mr. Livingstone thinks this is all about her getting back to Mr. Dorschlag. He has no doubt at all that the baby is his. Well, let us hear what Mr. Dorschlag has to say.
Child's biological father?
Your Honor, in a way, I do believe it because of the eye color and the hair color of the kid. I have sat down and looked at my previous baby pictures and baby pictures of Jordan, and I have came to the conclusion that because of the hair color and the eye color...
Well, that is some venom. You can say what you like about this case, but it is pretty obvious that Mrs. Livingstone does not like Mr. Livingstone at all. She completely hates him, but Judge Lake finds a way to get the truth out of her.
So what you're saying ultimately is you just hope he's the father.
Yes, that is
You
exactly
don't
how I feel.
believe beyond a doubt that he is.
No, there is doubt.
Wow, this is interesting. Many other women would kill to have a baby daddy who is as present in their lives as Mr. Livingstone is, but Mrs. Livingstone doesn't care at all. Well, it is time to see what the DNA test result has to say about that.
It has been determined by this court. Her biological father is Mr. Livingston.
Like I said, I didn't know for sure. I just wanted to know for sure.
Mr. Jordan really hopes that this kid isn't his because he has another kid on the way. But Ms. Ramirez says that doesn't matter to her and that she is 1,001,000,001% sure that Mr. Jordan is her baby daddy. Here is how the case starts.
Mr. Jordan, you claim to have evidence to prove that you were nowhere near the plaintiff during the time of conception, and therefore you cannot be Mila's biological father.
Okay, wait a minute. Why does Mr. Jordan look like a cartoon villain or some evil, wicked mob leader from Power Rangers or something? You may think that this man is avoiding responsibility, but that is not what he thinks at all.
I'm just here to prove that Mila's not my baby. She's a liar, like pathological liar. And we have 2 other babies together, and I've taken care of Levi and Adrian. Like, I've stepped up, I've changed their diapers. Like, Adrian was here for 7 months, I took care of him.
Oh, I think I was a bit too harsh on Mr. Jordan. He changed their diapers. That totally means he's a sensible and respectable young father, even if he has not seen his kid in over 2 years. If he says he will be there, he will be there. You might just have to wait a year or more. But wait, there are more details.
So you were already living in another state and had moved on.
Yep.
Which is why you say you are not Mila's biological father. Ms. Ramirez, if Mr. Jordan was living in a completely different state, you've testified he didn't have any money to come back.
Okay, wait, what? Ms. Ramirez just testified that she was broken up with this man and that he was a less than great father to her kids, but she still wanted another child with him? Like, does she not have any self-preservation instincts? Like, none at all. What is going on here?
I just want to say also, when I broke up with her, I had found like sex messages with other dudes. That was like when I decided to, just cut it all off.
The calendar, according to Ms. Ramirez, says that she had slept with Mr. Jordan without protection for the entire week, and she says that was the week she got pregnant. So it is an open and shut case, right? Well, wrong, because Mr. Jordan has proof that this did not happen.
Because I have proof right here that I was in Georgia. I got a pay stub. If I could submit this from.
Yes, I'd like.
And there it is. That is the complication we all know paternity court for. But it gets even more interesting because Mr. Jordan here can basically not run out of proof that this kid is his. Here is another one from him.
Your Honor, there's no way, and on top of that, she said that she had actually slept with someone before and she thought she was pregnant by another guy when she was talking on the phone. So.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I never said that.
What did she tell you, Mr. Jordan?
She told me that she thinks that she was pregnant with some guy, like she just happened to tell me.
Hold on, wait a minute. This is veering very dangerously into crazy territory. So Mr. Jordan slept with his former babysitter, and now she is pregnant. And now she says that Ms. Ramirez told her, in confidence, that Mr. Jordan isn't her kid's father?
She asked us to stay with the boys and that she's gonna take Mila to go see her dad. She didn't say, oh, this might be the dad. She said, I'm going to take Mila to see her dad. He's gonna give me money for her, and that he wants to see Mila.
No, she has not. In fact, she only said that the father of the baby has to be Mr. Jordan, and now we are learning that she was taking the child to see the other possibility? This is insane. What? And it gets worse.
It's like a 95 to 5% possibility.
What math are you doing in here?
Ms. Ramirez, you are going to have to come clean because Mr. Jordan has shown a picture she took with the baby and the other guy, and you can clearly see they are going for a family portrait. And now she is saying the other guy knows he might be the baby's father.
He knows he's a possibility. That's what I've told him. He's only a possibility.
So, Ms. Ramirez, tell the truth, because do I even need to go to this envelope? I mean, you talking in circles so much I'm getting dizzy. What is the truth?
The truth
This looks like a man holding his baby.
You know what? You seem really mad about it, Ms. Ramirez. You seem super mad about it. And the only way we are ever going to get to the end of this paternity issue is through the DNA test. And here is what that test says.
Mr. Jordan, you are the father. I don't know the results, but I saw that one coming through like a Mack truck.
You're right, she was gonna be upset if she found out that she was yours.
Ms. Williams thinks Mr. Glover is her son's biological father. She also says that the boy has a major surgery coming up and she needs to be sure Mr. Glover is his father before the surgery. But here is the kicker. Mr. Glover's brother may also be the child's father. Here is how it starts out.
Mr. Glover, you claim you are not Ricardo's father and have proof that his biological father is your brother.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Williams, tell us why you had to open your case.
Oh, so this question is important for the boy's medical history, so this isn't just about whether or not Mr. Glover is the father. The answer to this question is very important for medical reasons, but things are not so straightforward.
Beginning, I kind of had doubts that he was my son anyway, and I've been trying to get it situated. It ain't like I just ran off or anything, but...
How long has it been since you've seen Ricardo?
It's been about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't know that the right thing to do when you cannot get a DNA test done for a kid that might be yours is to move to Texas? But Mr. Glover has a good reason. He thinks that Ms. Williams is avoiding the test because she knows he isn't really the boy's father.
Felt like she was avoiding it, then that's why the 5 or 6 years passed, you left it alone because you felt like, I'm really not the father.
Yes, ma'am. I moved to a whole nother state after the last time of us not doing the DNA test.
Oh, a virgin? That is a rare sight in paternity court. But if Ms. Williams says she was a virgin before she met this man and there was no one after him, wouldn't that be enough proof that the baby is indeed his? Well, that isn't what Mr. Glover thinks.
Like, we wasn't around each other all the time.
I was in school.
Both of us was young, and like we wasn't around each other all the time.
So you didn't feel like it was necessarily exclusive?
No.
So
wait, did we hear that correctly? So Mrs. Glover says she caught Ms. Williams giving another man head while she was supposed to be dating her son. Now, that does not sound like something a faithful person would do, but it also gets worse.
Why didn't you just have him drop you off right here? It's no problem. She said, I got off the bus.
Oh, so you're saying you saw her with this person before she was pregnant and then after she had the baby?
Powerful testimony. Mrs. Daniel seems like she knows exactly what she is talking about. But that isn't the only bombshell she is about to drop on us. She has something even more incredible to say.
Like, he denied it from the jump. Like, his main thing was, nah, bro, I ain't never messed around with her. But I did see her stuff one time, but I ain't never.
The text messages show Mr. Glover's brother talking to Mr. Glover about how the kid looks exactly like him. And Mr. Glover replied that he could be straight with and tell him the facts. But hold on a minute. Are we not forgetting something here? Mr. Glover is related to his brother, and they have lots of similar genes. So why is it so surprising that his baby looks like his brother? But more details on that.
You claim you never had an intimate relationship with Mr. Glover's brother.
No, but my baby looks like him.
Why?
Genes. Genetically, that's your, the both of
They
them are your
don't
sons.
even have the same father.
It does not matter.
They don't even have the same father.
They have the same mother.
Ms. Daniel is very clear about what she's seen, and Ms. Williams is very clear that old Ms. Daniel here might be a tiny little bit blind. She insists that Mr. Glover is the only person she has ever slept with, and the DNA test will vindicate her. But let us see what Ms. Williams thinks about this baby looks like my elder brother business.
Oh, he signed it uncle. All right, so you're saying this is him acknowledging I'm not the father.
Exactly.
I am the uncle.
Yes.
All right, well, let me scan through this letter real quick and see what else he's talking about.
Please do.
But that isn't Ms. Williams' only evidence. In fact, today she brought a letter from Mr. Glover's brother to show that he never actually slept with her. And here is what that letter reads. Let Judge Lake read it out.
And I just want to say I'm sorry, but like, it could have been handled, and like I said, I apologize though.
You need to apologize to him too. He'll understand it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to Mr. Glover? Are you okay?
I just wanted him to know this is his child, and I asked for help because I just need it.
Oh, I see where it is coming from now. Mr. Glover can't imagine his brother isn't as equally deadbeat as him, so he thinks he has to be the father. You know what? That makes sense. Now let us see what the DNA test has to say.
Mr. Glover, you are the father.
That's all. What's up? What's up?
That's your handsome boy.
Mr. Anderson had an affair with Ms. Lima and now claims that the child from that affair does not belong to him. Now, Mr. Anderson has been married to his wife for 10 years, and he agrees that he messed up by cheating, but he says the child cannot be his. Here is how it starts out.
Anderson, you say your whole life is on the line, and your marriage, and you're hoping you're not father today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mrs. Anderson, the woman Mr. Anderson cheated on, is in court today, and she also has a great deal to say. And why wouldn't she? This affair may just break up her home. Remember, before Mrs. Anderson texted Ms. Lima, she did not know that Mr. Anderson was even married. And what does Mr. Anderson have to say for himself?
I'm just sorry, Your Honor. I just want to say I'm sorry to my wife and my family and my kids.
I believe you are sorry.
Your Honor, it was a big mistake. And, you know, I really want my marriage and I want my marriage to work. But
and
it
I
started...
see your wife next to you and I feel her pain.
And that is when the lies start popping out. Mr. Anderson says it was just one night and nothing ever happened after that night. He also says he told Ms. Lima that he has a wife and kids, and he couldn't possibly be her child's father. Like that has ever stopped baby making.
It was a one-night stand.
You never saw her again?
Never saw her again.
Ms. Lima?
That's wrong, Your Honor. That's wrong.
How often would you see Mr. Anderson?
We've seen each other for 2 years, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, so you were lying when you told the court that this happened only once, while it happened at least 50 times? Mr. Anderson may want to play this off as a one-time thing that happened because he got into an argument with his wife, but that is clearly a horrible lie. But he also has some theories about why Ms. Lima is doing this.
She's just looking for some money.
That's
She's looking for a cash
That is
out.
not the case at all. It's not
Well, if she's looking for a cash out, you gave her the directions because you led her right to your treasure.
Wow, this is insane. You can clearly see how mad Mrs. Anderson is getting about this entire situation. She cannot believe everything she is hearing, and she is no doubt hearing some of these details for the first time because, as we have seen, Mr. Anderson cannot tell the truth to save his own life. And it gets worse.
So when she was 4 months pregnant, you didn't meet up with her? Mr. Anderson, just tell the truth now. Just tell the truth.
This is one crazy man. He slept with her even when she was pregnant and is now acting like this baby could never belong to him? Really? Did he really do that? It appears so. But let us hear from Mrs. Anderson now. What does she have to say?
Your marriage is on the line because
My
of
marriage
this.
is past on the line. I can't. And then he's sitting up here. First he said it's one time, now it's numerous of times. You understand? I knew it when she told me what was in my house, that it was numerous of times. And he kept lying.
Mrs. Anderson has a right to be mad at both of these people. They have basically ruined her life, and now she may have to start all over again. She may have to divorce her husband, and that may lead to horrible conditions for her kids. It seems she has already made that decision.
Has told us she was also in a sexual relationship with you during the time she was in a sexual relationship with Mr. Anderson. So you could possibly be this child's father. Are you clear on that?
Yes.
This sucks so bad for Mrs. Anderson, but for this case, the only way is through. There is still another man outside who could be the father of this baby, and he is about to step in court right now and tell his part of the story.
Pertaining to whether Mr. Anderson is the father of 1-year-old Christina, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not her father.
So while Mr. Anderson was cheating on his wife with Ms. Lima was also cheating on him with another man. Well, they say what goes around comes around. Let us get to the bottom of this case at last. Who is the father of this baby?
Plaintiffs lie, defendants lie, DNA does not lie. When I read the result, I could see the relief you felt. I felt the relief as well, but it wasn't for you.
3 different adults with 2 different mothers have brought the same defendant to court today, and they are all alleging the same thing, that Mr. Medley SNR is their father. The 3 kids, Mr. Heron, Mr. Medley JNR, and Ms. Johnson all say that Mr. Medley Sinar is their father, and that he will stop denying them today. Here is how it starts out.
Ms. Johnson, you grew up without a father for 26 years and claimed that when you finally found the defendant, he claimed he didn't know you existed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Really? 2 different women on 3 different occasions decided to commit paternity fraud against you? Are you like the patron saint of paternity fraud or something? But it is all cool, guys. Mr. Medley Sinar says he had very good reasons to doubt all 3. Let us listen.
Mr. Medley Sr., you submitted a whole list of doubts.
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
When I met her when I was playing in a band, which was about maybe 3 blocks from where she lived. She would come, she would be there, you know. I'm like, why do I want to start trouble? I'm a drummer, I'm not here to start trouble. He said, well, she has been with him, but he didn't know that she was married.
Well, that is a lot of hearsay from Mr. Medley Sinar, but it also could be true. But his 2 kids? No. They are not going with that at all. They have a lot to say, and Mr. Medley SNR doesn't seem like he has a lot to reply.
So much to hear this man sit here in this courtroom and lie to you like that. Look at me. Do I not look like you? Honestly. Spitting image, 100%. And you gonna sit up here and say that I'm not your son?
I don't know.
How you not know, man? You looking at yourself right here.
Not the way I see it.
Yup, they shut him right up. Even if you are not sure the kids are yours, you should probably get that sorted before they grow old. That's the only responsible way to deal with paternity doubts, not hiding in a hole somewhere. But he says he had his reasons for not doing that.
And in the 80s, we did not have DNA, we had blood tests. I tried to get blood tests. Grandmother kept saying, it's painful, they've been through enough. She would not allow me to do it. But now, it's just a swab of the mouth, so there's no pain in that.
Oh well, what a case. But remember, Mr. Medley and Mr. Henry aren't the only ones saying that Mr. Medley is their father, there is also Ms. Johnson, who is from another mother, and her story is just as shocking as the rest.
Ms. Johnson, in your statement to the court, you indicated you grew up not knowing who your father truly was.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about that.
I grew up in and out of foster care.
That must have sucked. Ms. Johnson says her mom told her never to contact Mr. Medley, but when she was 26, she finally found him. And what did he say to her? What did he say when a woman who could be his daughter reached out to him?
First I told him my mom's name, and I asked him, did he know her? He said yes. But when I told him that he was my dad, he was like, oh, really? Oh, my daughter, can you please send me your number, and I'll give you a call.
Phew. So what is Mr. Medley trying to do here? Did he just start denying her recently? Or did he always deny her but just never let her know? Who knows with this dude? But he should have some answers for us, right? Let us find out.
We didn't get into this DNA test until on Mother's Day. When I had over from Mother's Day, she kept talking about, I need a DNA test.
No.
Well, this is what happened. She was having problems with her van. And I had said that I would help her because at my job, they was going to give us a retro pay.
Well, the bottom point seems to be that Mr. Medley also has paternity doubts about Ms. Johnson, but they are probably not as strong as the ones he has about Mr. Heron and Mr. Medley Jr. Anyway, the only way to solve this impasse is by checking out the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court, you are the father. It has been determined by this court that you are the father.
Phew, what a shock. Mr. Medley was 100% convinced those boys did not belong to him, and now he has found out they are his father. Now, he doesn't have so many doubts about his daughter, which means she is probably his daughter, right? Let us see.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Medley Sr., you are not her father.
Okay.
Mr. Zara is in paternity for the second time. The first time he was found to not be the father of the defendant's son, and that devastated him. But he is back to confirm if he is indeed the father of her 8-month-old daughter as well. Here is how it begins.
Ms. Nadeau, you admit you had the shock of your life when the results were read and you learned Mr. Zara's best friend was the father of your son. Now, according to Mr. Zara, the man seated next to me could be your daughter's biological father.
According to him.
Okay, this is just crazy. Miss Nadeau here has tried to pass off Mr. Zara's friend's kid as his kid before, but now she is claiming that was only a one-time thing and she would surely never try to do the same thing a second time. Here's the question. Why would anyone believe her? Let us learn the complete story.
Let's use respectful language. So you believe she's promiscuous?
Yes, and she sleeps with everybody I know pretty much.
That's what you claim.
And so when you were in the courtroom for the last particular hearing, it was unfortunately revealed you were not the father.
Yes.
What? Is there anyone Ms. Nadeau hasn't slept with? She says this only happened before she conceived her 2-year-old, who has been discovered to not be Mr. Zara's daughter. Yeah, like that means anything. Here's what Ms. Nadeau's story is.
I got pregnant with Ariella. I was only sleeping with Mr. Zara. Me and Mr. McCaffrey stopped sleeping together years ago.
She was pretty much the community jump-off. She was sleeping with me, my boy, and him, but who knows if it was all at the same time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he? This woman got pregnant by his friend. He would obviously believe anything about her. She has done the worst possible thing to him, and he probably thinks there is no limit to her wickedness. That is why he brought a surprise witness who has loads of juicy details to share.
Well, Your Honor, first off, I seen the two individuals together when I was with one of Tom's ex-girlfriends. We ran into them two at a store, and I known Tyler for a while, Mr. McCarthy for a while, and I stopped to say what's up, and then Kayla ended up getting into an altercation with the...
And that's Miss Nadeau?
Yes.
You know what? It is super rich that this is coming from Ms. Nadeau. The last time she was in this court, she was embarrassed by the DNA test result. There was no eyewitness that saw her sleeping with the father of her baby that time, so it is kind of ironic that she is asking for one now. Let us hear from another witness.
Mr. Santelli, you were here before.
Yes.
And you are the gentleman that ended up being her child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are best friends with Mr. Zara.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, best friends. That's something.
This is one wild testimony. Mr. Santilli here says that he was hearing rumors that Ms. Nadeau was messing with 2 other men while she was with Mr. Zara. That is crazy. And the fact that Ms. Nadeau can sit in court and deny it all, that is just something. But it gets worse.
Back here, the window of conception would have been around March 6th, March 8th, around that first week or so of March. Luckily, with the internet, we can check and see what the weather was around then. So let me see.
There's no snow on the ground in March in Rhode Island.
This is crazy. No way this is happening right now. So Ms. Nadeau could really have cheated on this man twice with his friends to birth 2 different babies? Somebody wake me up. This cannot be true. Something else is going on here.
You think you could be Ariella's
There's
father in your mind?
Absolutely not.
So what is this?
Just look at it. It's a picture of our eyes, mine and the baby's eyes.
The looks really have nothing to do with it.
This is a picture
Nor does
of
the
your
snow on the
eyes
ground.
split with
Ariella's.
baby Ariella's. And you believe they're similar?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is definitely one of the craziest cases ever, but we still have to get to the bottom of it. Mr. Zara petitioned the court for a lie detector test, and the test has been done. It is time to learn just how many partners Ms. Nadeau has.
Guys that she possibly could be the dad.
Oh my God, now
that
they know every guy in the world
I
I've
was
slept
told
with.
that she was sleeping with, but I
That
don't
they
have
were
any
told.
hard evidence.
They were told. It's all rumors.
But everything was a
lies,
rumor,
and
but he
based
just
off
sat there and said that he
drama
was having
that you
sex
guys
with you,
feed
so-
into.
Ms. Nadeau, you were apt. Are there any other potential biological fathers of baby Ariella other than the 2 men who have been DNA tested for this case?
Well, at least we know we are just down to 2 men. It is time to find out if Miss Nadeau has been telling the truth all along, or there is something else she is hiding from all of us. The answer to this might just break your mind.
It has been determined by this court that her father is Mr. Zara.
You have a lot of apologizing to do. A lot.